Let's start with a big picture for those that may not be acclimated to betting the sport, and that is what the Kentucky Derby is. First off, these horses are going to stretch out. They're going to go 1.25 miles, 10 furlongs, so that's longer than most have run, obviously, up to this point. Secondly, they're 3-year-olds. I like the comparison calling them high schoolers that are about to head to college, like still precocious, personality issues. We'll talk about Tapit Trice, who's out of Tapit. As Aaron Halterman said, he can be moody. He can be a little odd. He's in the 5-hole. So let's start off just kind of setting up the race, Somich.
Yeah, like you said, we're going 1.25 miles. None of these horses have gone that far before. So that's the first thing you have to overcome. Secondly, it's the only race that we have in the U.S. here that has 20 horses that go postward. So trip is wildly important here. We've seen 8 of the last 10 years, a horse with a front-running style, either on the lead or close to it, has been able to win the Derby. You could really say 9 of the last 10 as Rich Strike was able to close into the fastest pace in Kentucky Derby history last year. So you're looking for horses that are more forwardly placed, that have sires and dams, so mothers and fathers that want to get the distance, want to go that full 1.25 miles. And you got horses coming from all across the country. So you have different circuits that you can qualify for this race through. You can qualify through Florida, through Arkansas, through Kentucky, through California, through New York. So it's really all of these players coming, or these horses coming together to compete in this race here in First Saturday in May. We're going to have Forte as your favorite. He was your 2-year-old champion last year, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He has done nothing wrong this year. He's won both of the races he's entered in. This is a Todd Pletcher trained horse. There's something that's called the Pletcher progression, where that third race off the layoff is when you see the best effort from a Todd Pletcher horse. It's exactly what you're getting with Forte here. People are knocking his number in the Florida Derby. His trip in the Florida Derby was atrocious. The numbers are based off of the final time and how fast they're going in the stretch. When you're 4 wide in the first turn, you're 5 wide on the second turn, you don't get to accelerate down the stretch until the last 16th. Your number is going to be lower than what people are hoping for because of the situation the race ran in. So if Forte actually creeps up to that 7-2, 4-1 range, I think he's bettable in the win spot. And I think he is very, very likely to hit the board. If you're playing tries or supers, I love using him underneath here. And if he creeps up from a win perspective, I think it's definitely worth betting a win bet.
Todd Pletcher, one of the great trainers of all time. We're talking Kentucky Derby. He got a good draw as far as the post draw as well. He's in the 15 hole. So again, all those horses aren't going to come crashing down with a 20-horse field. So Forte on the outside, and then Tapit Trice, 5-hole. That concerned Halterman a bit, also trained by Pletcher. Where are you on Tapit Trice? I know you're going to try to beat the gray horse.
This is probably my biggest opinion here in the race, or the decision that's going to define this race for me the most. But I am chucking him out of everything completely. I think this 5-hole draw is awful for Tapit Trice. He is downright goofy still. He has not figured it out mentally. Forte, very forward mentally progression-wise. Tapit Trice still is not broken well in a single race. He breaks last every single time. He drew the 5 posts, which generally isn't as bad as you'd think, but the 1 through 4 all have more speed than he does. So he's not going to outbreak any of them. And all of a sudden, he draws basically the rail of a 16-horse field to his outside that he is going to be slower than most of them, that are going to just crunch him down. I think he's the most likely horse to be in 20th the first time they go under the wire. And if that horse is 5-1, I will not be using him in a try, in a super, to win, anywhere.
Let's start to build a ticket. We'll start with pace, though. So important. 1.25 miles, who gets a good jump, who's a closer. As far as the field, how does the pacing play out?
It's an absolute mess this year. If you look at 4 or 5 of the different tools that you can use to come up with a pace scenario, you're seeing 4 or 5 different horses that are going to end up making the lead. A lot of that pace is drawn to the inside. So you've got the 2-horse Verifying, the 4 Confidence Game. You've got the 6 Kings Barnes. You've got the 7 in Reincarnate, all that want to be more forwardly placed. Then you've got the 17 in Dermaso Tagate, who's coming in from Japan after winning the UAE Derby. That's kind of the wild card from that pace perspective. It doesn't project to be all that fast of a pace, but there are quite a few different horses that could possibly be setting it. Now, when you have that scenario in a horse race, generally it's going to be a tick faster than you expect, because you're going to have 4 or 5 different horses that decide, okay, I want the lead. One of them will get it, and then the race slows down after that one horse has kind of cleared themselves out into the lead. So it could be a little bit of a scramble early, and then the pace slows down a little bit, but it projects like a race that's going to be won by someone that's sitting in the top 8 going into that first turn.
Let's build a ticket, but let's do it this way. You got plenty of time, 3.5 minutes. Walk a new horse bettor through your thought process on building a ticket. We can talk about a winner. We can talk about a super. We can talk about a try, whatever you want, exacta. Let's walk through the process in your mind of building a ticket for the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, so for me, win bets are really important. I think that if you ever really like a horse that's over 4 or 5 to 1, you should be betting that horse to win on top of whatever else you're going to be betting. In the Kentucky Derby, pretty much every single horse is going to be over that 4 to 5-1 mark, except maybe Forte in this case. So I'll be putting in a win bet. I generally don't put 2 win bets in unless I have a horse that I like at monster numbers. This year, the horse that I like the most to win is Meagher, the 8 horse who's sitting on the board at 15 to 1. I think Forte is the most likely to win, but this is the horse that ran second to him last time out, got a significantly worse trip in that Florida Derby, and only lost by a length after making the lead down the stretch. Forte's 3 to 1. He's 15 to 1. He's got breaking issues, the 8 horse Meagher does. However, if he does break, he should be 5 to 1 in this field. And so it is an if, but you're getting the right price to bet on that at 15 to 1. So I'll start out with a win bet there with Meagher at 15 to 1. And then this superfecta in the Kentucky Derby is phenomenal to play. It's paid at least $9,500 I believe it's 15 out of the last 17 years. It has gone over 6 figures, over $100,000 for the super in the Derby 6 of those years. So it's a great bet to play. And if you're going to play it and try and make big money, the best way to do it is you put a long shot on top, and then you put a smattering of horses underneath. So for me, I'm going to put the 8 Meagher on top on one ticket. On the other ticket, I'll put the 17 Dermaso on top. And then in that second spot, I'm going to put Angel of Empire and Dermaso, Meagher, and Forte. So the 14, the 15, and the 17 in that second spot. I'm going to round it out by adding the 3 horse 2 Phils and the 6 horse Kingsbarn into the 4th and 5th spots. So the one with Meagher on top would look like 8 over, 14, 16, 17 over 3, 6, 14, 16, 17 over 3, 6, 14, 16, 17.
Beautiful. What do you think Forte goes off as? Like 3 to 1 morning line. Is it going to be that? Is he going to be that short?
He should be. 3 to 1 is really the right price for Forte. There have been a lot of people trying to pick holes in his Florida Derby. There have been a lot of people trying to pick holes in his morning workouts at Churchill this year. And I don't think people find it that sexy to bet the favorite or to pick the favorite. But he's clearly the best horse in this field right now. And now down the line, Tapit Trice may actually be the best horse in this field come Belmont time, come Travers time. But we're not there. We're dealing with the current iterations of these horses. So for me, I think Forte somewhere around that 3 to 1 is correct. If you get up to 7 to 2, 4 to 1, that's a bet. I don't think he's going to get bet down as much as people. I know that everyone talks about the mattress Mac money. He's done a very good job of spreading that across Oaks Derby doubles, across exactas in the Derby, and win bets. I don't think it's going to push his odds down to 5 to 2 or 2 to 1 come race time.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.